All right, welcome to First and Faloney. Week two is officially done with this, or week one's officially done with. This is our week two episode. I am Donovan Faloney, joined as always, the man himself, Mr. Andrew Cooper. And how about the 2023-2024 college football playoff champions, the Colorado Buffaloes, my friend? Big old upset. How bad was I kicking myself after that game for not picking them? And you told me to.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I regret not picking another team myself that I called in preseason that I should have done.
Yep. Yep. So we'll talk a little bit about everything week one related here in a second. But to just knock off what's new, and I'm not going to harp on it for long, the new members of the ACC, Cal, Stanford, and SMU will be next week. So Oregon State, Washington State are the only two left of the Pac-12, unfortunately, which stinks because I feel like those are better teams than Cal and Stanford, but it is what it is. Interesting news about the deal, though. None of them are taking money. None of those three teams are taking money for the first 5 years of the deal, and then SMU for the first 7 years of the deal. So there's no more geographic locations for non-conference. I didn't know if you wanted to weigh in anything since you are the ACC kind of homer here for this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed, man. Honestly, I would have liked to try to get some teams a little bit closer
Yeah.
towards the coast, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, our chancellor, Mr. Woodson, flipped his vote. So I don't know if his goal is to stay in the ACC and be an ACC powerhouse and let everybody else leave. I don't know. I don't understand it. Uh,
I mean,
I don't know, man. This is going to be weird because you're going to have different time slots now all the time in the conference.
yeah, I don't mind SMU being in it. It's the Stanford Cal that kind of concerns me. And with FSU probably going to leave, who knows if anybody else? Clemson, North Carolina are the only other two that vote no. NC State would have been my other team to leave because they're at least above average in every sport that they play, so they would easily fit into another big conference, I think, which kind of surprised me on why they flipped, like you just said. I don't know what they're trying to do, but maybe they go out and get like a Western Kentucky as well, or I don't know. I don't know Tulane, but I feel like that's still SEC territory. But anyways, let's not harp on it. It's college football season. We just had 5 straight days of college football, so let's go ahead and do the recap of week one, and we'll go ahead and start with the game of the week, my friend. I already know what I'm going to talk about, but I'll let you go first on this one because I think it's going to be a general theme for me throughout these categories here.
All right. I actually had two games of the week.
Okay.
Number one, obviously, Colorado TCU.
Yes.
Two, Clemson Duke.
Clemson Duke. Both of them. So there was a couple really, really good games this weekend and a couple really, really, really bad games this weekend. Clemson Duke, I thought was actually pretty good. I fell asleep at halftime. Duke should have been up 9-0 at half. They shouldn't have given up that touchdown. I have my takes on on that game a little bit later, so I'll let you go ahead and speak on that one here for us on game of the week.
On what, Clemson Duke?
Clemson Duke. Yeah, I have takes on Clemson that
So I just,
I'm gonna
so
rant
I guess
a
with
little bit.
me, with the game, first of all, congratulations to Mike Elko
Hottest
and the
name in
Duke
college
Blue
football right
Devils.
now.
Yes, sir, and the Duke Blue Devils. Well played game. Not only that, is damn, did the defense look fast and quick and physical. That's the first
Yeah.
time I've seen a defense from Duke be fast, quick, and physical.
Getting
And
turnovers, doing everything. Yeah.
in a very long time, they got a quarterback who can throw the piss out the ball. He's very smart.
Yeah.
He doesn't force it if it's not there. But I guess the main thing, I guess I want to get your opinion on is this goes back to what I said in the preseason. First year offensive coordinator. Here's my thoughts with
Do you
this.
want me to go on my rant right now? Because I will do it. I will lay into
Well, no,
every single Clemson motherfucker there is.
all I'm saying is this. Quarterback looked terrible.
Trash.
That was terrible. Two, he's throwing screen plays all the time
Or overthrowing the player.
on a pass. Did take a few deep shots. Yes, overthrowing the player. A lot of drop passes. No weapons on off on in the wide receivers.
Zero weapons
To
on the
me,
entire field for them.
and the fact that Maffa and Shipley both are in the
Sucks.
backfield at
Trash.
once, I don't like it.
Trash. They're both trash,
I
Andrew.
don't like that.
They suck.
So that is my take on that.
I
I
said,
don't know.
and you called it as well. You were very adamant about Clemson being on a down year again this year. But I backed it up and I said Clemson has zero offensive weapons, including Will Shipley. Will Shipley is not a weapon, he's a workhorse. And if you don't have weapons around him, the workhorse isn't going to be able to work. It wasn't DJ problem, which we'll get into later. My boy had 5 tuds this weekend. It wasn't a defensive problem, although the defense did not have a sack in the first time in 45 games they did not record a single sack. They looked outmatched in every single level. There's no offensive weapons for them. And I don't think it's an OC problem. It's a talent problem. They don't have the talent that they used to. The Clemson era is over. And I could be overreacting. I very much well could be. But man, was I so happy when they just laid a goose egg. And the only reason why they scored a touchdown was because of that muffed punt. Duke should have shut him out.
Oh yeah.
Look, I'm not an ACC homer.
I
I cannot stand the Clemson fans. And when a throttling like that happens, I become the biggest D-bag in the entire world. And I know I hope I'm not speaking for you either, but like they were all trash. Will Shipley did not. He is awful. He's a workhorse. He was god awful that game.
I just kind of, man, I don't know. I just had a lot of questions. The offensive line did not look great to me.
No, Klubnik did not look comfortable at all. The receivers couldn't catch a cold in the middle of winter, like nothing.
Yeah, I don't.
Riley Leonard, he was about 50-60%, but he still tore him up, man. They couldn't stop him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I have a lot of questions, and that goes back from what were they, 8?
Yeah, they're not in my top 25 right now.
They shouldn't be.
No, but they're in the top 25, but they shouldn't be. Hell,
yeah,
they
so I have a lot of questions on that with that team. Like I said, I don't. Maybe they get it together.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just being biased because I want the homecoming game when they come into town to be at night.
Y'all are gonna smoke them. Y'all are gonna win by 30. Like the way the NC State played, because UConn has a solid defense. NC State played well. Brandon Armstrong wasn't the problem. Your receivers couldn't catch the ball and you couldn't run. The quarterback wasn't the issue.
We haven't been able to run in 2 years.
Right. But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, we've been preaching that. We know that. You and I know that. All of NC State's fans know that. But it's just, it wasn't a Brendan Armstrong issue. I actually thought he was the reason why they won that game in a lot of ways.
It had a lot of grit.
He looks good. He didn't look bad. Which is, I still want MJ to play, but like, still.
Yeah, but you got to have more offensive explosions, man. He's not going to. We'll get into that.
We'll talk about that with the Notre Dame game because I feel like you and Libby are going to hate me after we talk about that. So, my game of the week obviously was Colorado TCU. I've been preaching Dion, and I picked against them. Never again am I going to doubt Dion. I'm picking Colorado the rest of the way. I think it's now a 6-team race for the Pac-12. I still think Colorado's probably 5 or 6 on that list, but the way that their offense looked, Shadur Sanders was 80% throwing for 510 yards. Travis Hunter had 110 plays where he had 11 receptions, 119 yards, and a touchdown. He had 1 interception. He dropped two big touchdowns in the end zone. Travis Hunter just looked like a robot out there. Like, Colorado looked amazing, and they're favored for the Nebraska game by 3. They're going to beat them by 10 plus.
All right.
7 million people watched that game, dude. And it was at
Why do you think?
noon. And those Colorado all whites, they actually looked clean as shit,
Oh
dude.
yeah, yeah, that's pretty icy.
Did you see Sanders' kids, Shador and Shiloh, both wear the
Wearing the
same
cleats.
cleats that Dion wore in the
Yeah,
with the Cowboys?
that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, Shador, I think honestly, if I had to pick a Heisman top three right now, it's Shador Sanders, Travis Hunter, and Michael Penix.
Yeah, that makes look really well too,
Penix looked great, and Shador Sanders was better. He just
without a doubt.
was. So okay, so player of the week. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and knock this one out. I have a tie. It's Shador and Travis Hunter. Michael Penix would have been my player of the week, but Shador and Travis Hunter just stepped up to the plate, man.
See, I had Travis Hunter, man. He had over 100 and something odd plays on both sides
110.
of the ball, and I mean, dude, to
He
be
looked
honest with
dominant.
you, it didn't even phase him. I mean, he's just a
Mm-mm.
well built athlete.
Seems like a very humble
So
kid too.
yeah, exactly. So I'm going with Travis Hunter for my pick.
Yeah, I'll go with Shador Sanders since you picked Travis. Then I mean that's fine. That's 1A 1B I think. And they had
Oh,
that
without a
freshman
doubt.
running back who had 4 touchdowns, and we didn't even get to see Cavassier Smoke, who's a stud too. They just have running backs after running backs on that team. And it could be just TCU was that bad because they did lose a lot, but man,
Dude, TCU, that's what I told a few people. I'm not taking anything away from Prime in Colorado. They look damn good. But I don't think we really realized how much TCU lost on both sides of the ball.
and how much was ball luck last year too? They had 7 games with like 7 points
Yeah,
or less, like, and they won every single one of them. Like,
yeah.
so okay, so let's go ahead and knock out the winners of the week, and then we'll do losers of the week, and then we'll get into our game picks, man. So winners of the week, I have 4 different ones, so I don't know how many winners you had, or
I
but if you
actually
want,
have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I have eight.
okay, well let's knock a couple out then. Go ahead, buddy.
Winners of the week for me, I had Colorado, Duke, FSU, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Virginia Tech, Louisville, and even though they lost, Georgia Tech.
See, I actually have Louisville on the losers.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, and I can explain why on that one. But do you want to go into depth on any of those that you just spoke on?
Yeah. Damn, dude, Florida State looked really good. I think they're back.
That's the Johnny Walker and the kid from Keon Coleman from Michigan State. Woo,
Yes.
woo.
Um, Tennessee, I know it was only Virginia, but man, did Joe Milton come out and throw some pretty balls.
Yeah,
I
it
think,
wasn't his fault they started off slow either. Their receivers
no,
scare me because they're not as good as last year's.
yeah, but I think all that will end up bouncing out. And Wisconsin, I don't know if I really should have them as a winner. They played really good, and I looked through
Second
Luke
half.
Fickle area. Yeah, they played really well. To me, the biggest winner out of this, I'm gonna go one and two. Georgia Tech number one because
They
they're
looked
finally
great.
getting back. Yeah, they're finally getting back to the prominence that
Haynes
they used to
King
be
was a star.
with Paul Johnson at the helm and Virginia Tech. I
Yes,
think
they
they
looked good.
have made a lot of improvements since last year. Um, both on both sides of the ball, really.
Yep.
So
And
good for
nothing
them.
beats Enter Sandman for an entrance, man. Like you can say anything you
No,
want, but that's just it's electric, especially first game of the season.
without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, all good points. I mean, the winners, we have our normal teams, and I don't even want to talk about it because most of them were versus FCS opponents. But like Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Oregon put up 70 plus, 80 plus. Bama put up a good amount. Texas A&M put up a good amount. Notre Dame looks good. Ohio State kind of struggled. And we can go into that a little bit more, but Indiana is better than any of those other teams that anybody else faced. Um, Georgia, they won by like 40 some points, but people were saying they struggled. I'm not worried about them. Like Washington looked really, really good. I thought Boise was going to give them a better game, but and then Colorado, obviously, we talked about that. The state of Florida outside of University of Florida, the UCF, Miami, FSU, all three of those teams looked great. Pac-12 actually started off 13-0 as a whole conference. First time that's been ever done. And then the last winner, I'm gonna give him, and I'm gonna be on his case all year long. 5 touchdowns in the black and orange over there at Corvallis, Oregon State. DJ looked good, and all he needs to do is be above average because that defense is amazing. That sophomore running back Martinez is a stud. Watch out, Oregon State. I called them to win the Pac-12 this year. I believe I picked them to win the Pac-12 this year. Watch out for Oregon State. 5 touchdowns, man. And they dominated. I know it was just San Jose State, but they dominated.
Keep my comments to myself for now.
Hey, I'm gonna be on him all year, and I hope you're on me when he throws 6 interceptions in a game. So
it's going to happen.
All right, so some losers of the week. I got a couple. I want to talk a little bit about 2 teams specifically, and then I'll go over the rest of them. Or I'll go over the upsets first. I mean, we had some big upsets. Boston College losing to Northern Illinois. I don't know if that was really an upset because Boston College sucks. Fresno State beat Purdue, which I was shocked on. Texas State over Baylor by 11. And then Wyoming over Texas Tech. That was a sneakily good game. Both teams played well, I thought. Wyoming all yellow at home actually looks pretty legit too. Like, yeah, those look sick. But the teams I want to talk about is Louisville and Iowa. And I just will touch on Louisville. I have them in the losers, even though they won, but they shouldn't have. Georgia Tech was the better team the whole game. And I know they have an easy schedule, and that's why people are kind of picking them to be in the championship. But, like, they can't play like that against some of the other teams. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. They didn't. Their defense wasn't really all that impressive to me.
But those ugly-ass jerseys from Georgia Tech, I mean, they won. They played really well. I was surprised. I turned that game off because I was bored with it. And then Iowa's offense started off hot, 2 touchdowns to start off, and then only scoring 24 points. They're off. It's the same old Iowa. Same old Iowa, even though they have a better
struggle to score.
Like so I have them in the losers until they can tell me otherwise. But that's what I have for the losers of the week. What do you got?
Losers of the week, I had Baylor, South Carolina, Boston College, and Texas Tech.
It wasn't Spencer Rattler's fault.
I don't know.
He had 300 plus yards passing.
Oh, he played his ass off.
They had negative 2 yards rushing total. North Carolina had 8 sacks.
Yeah, their offensive line was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. But the biggest game to me, I think, was the Baylor and the Texas Tech.
Yeah, what happened there?
Dude, I don't know.
Both of them. We were both really high on Texas Tech this year.
I was really high on Texas Tech.
Are they look-ahead games, I guess? Because Oregon's coming into Lubbock this weekend, so I can kind of chalk that one up. And Wyoming's not an awful team.
No, Wyoming's not. But those two were
Texas State.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. Well, anything else from the week 1? Overall, I think it was a better slate than last week. I wish there was some more better games, but some of the bad games actually turned into pretty good ones. So,
yep.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into some game picks. So our records as of right now are you're still up by 1. You're 11-4 on the season. I'm 10-5, and my locks are 7-8. We both went 6-4 last week. Not that great, but week 1, week 2, we're still getting to know these teams. And of course, we picked some more difficult games this week. We got 10 more on the slate here. let's go ahead and get started. We'll start off in the middle of Jayhawk country. Illinois at Kansas. Kansas is favored by 3 points. Illinois' defense doesn't look the same. They lost 6 starters from last year. I hate to bet against Brent Bielema, but I'm going Kansas with this one. I like when it comes down to a chalk match like this. Do I trust Daniels or Altmaier bet more? I trust Daniels. So I got Kansas.
Yeah, this one was a real tough one for me. I got to go with Kansas, but only because it's at Kansas.
If it was at Illinois, it might be a little different for sure.
Yep. But to me, Altmaier, in order to win that game, has to stay hot all game long.
All right. Well, we're gonna save the next one I had on the list till the very end. So we'll go down to Texas, to Waco, Texas. We'll go Utah at Baylor. Utah's favored by 8. Who you got on this one?
I got Utah.
Even if Rising isn't playing?
Yeah, look what they did to Florida and he won't play him.
Yeah, I agree. Their defense is we always whenever we talk Pac-12 and whenever anybody talks about Pac-12, we always forget about Utah, and they've won the last 2 conference championships. Like they're one of the most consistent teams in the NCAA. So I agree. I have Utah as well. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I think we see that freshman, the speedster at quarterback a little bit more because I mean he didn't look bad against Florida.
Oh my God,
but
he was quick as lightning.
But he's quick as can be. So okay, and then we'll go travel in that same Midwest area. We'll go up to Colorado, Nebraska, Colorado. Colorado is favored by 3. You know where I'm going. I'm not doubting Prime again. I'm going Colorado.
Yeah,
Colorado big.
I think if Rule had more of an established quarterback, this game would be a pretty damn good game to watch.
You don't trust Jeff Sims?
No, I don't, because they couldn't put it away against Minnesota.
Yeah, neither of those teams look good.
Yeah, I know. But to me, Colorado just looks more well-rounded.
Yeah.
You got the L's on some jerseys and you got the D's on your jerseys, leaders and dogs. So I'm going with the dogs on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree as well. As long as Travis Hunter and Sanders stay healthy, I honestly think Shador is going to throw for another 400, 500 yards. I trust Matt Rule as well, but not in year 1.
No.
So I think we play this game next year. I think it'll be a lot better. Depending on which recruits Dion gets. Okay, next game we're gonna go to Blacksburg, Virginia. Purdue at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's favored by 3. They just came off of a big win against ODU. ODU's no slouch, but they're not a Power 5 team. Who you got in Blacksburg, Virginia?
I got to go with the home team on this one, man.
Yeah. Enter Sandman. That place is going to be rocking after another win. Feel like the ACC is kind of wide open after that Clemson loss. Like
Tech looks a hell of a lot better than what they did last year.
Maybe we were wrong about Brent Pry. Maybe he just needs to take a year or 2 to get there. So, yeah, I'm going Virginia Tech as well. Pretty simple for me there. They just looked better than Purdue. Purdue lost last week to Fresno State, and Fresno State was starting brand new quarterback. So, not there. This one was very, very tough for me. The rest of the games, very, very tough games. We just blew through the easiest ones, and we're on the same page with all of them. This one, we're going to go down to Louisiana, where Ole Miss is taking on Tulane. Ole Miss is favored by only 7 points. Tulane looked really good. Ole Miss hung 70. Who you got here?
This was so tough. I got to go with Ole Miss, man. I think it carried the momentum from last week.
I do too. I have Ole Miss as well, but it's not for carrying the momentum because, I mean, they both won. But I think that quarterback room is so stacked that one misstep, they're gone. So
Yeah.
Spencer Sanders is going to go in. Walker Howard's going to go in. I mean, and to be completely honest with you, Lane Kiffin's fighting for that Alabama job.
Oh yeah.
So,
He's going to make sure he does whatever he's got to do.
because Mike Elko stepped up, and I can see Elko going there in a couple years. And what about
Mm,
Dion? What if Dion goes there in a couple years?
no way.
That'll be
I
a
think he's
fun.
going. I think he'll wait till Norville has a struggle.
I want to put
I don't
money.
know. Ain't no
You know
telling
what
where
I
Dion
thought
gonna
about
go.
this weekend? What if he goes to Florida
What if?
just
What?
to
What?
spite FSU?
No. No.
But what if he did? Because that would be Dion. You can't tell me that wouldn't be Dion.
I'm not lying.
Okay. Next one I think is might be game of the weekend. Texas A&M at Miami. Texas A&M's favored by 4.5 points. Both teams look dominant, just in different ways. Cristobal looks like he got the boys going. Van Dyke looked pretty good. And then A&M, I mean, they hung 70 points. Granted, it was against a nobody, but 70 points is still 70 points. It's tough to do in a 60-minute game. I have Texas A&M, but I'm not convinced.
I'm going to tell you why you made a good choice on that. Nobody shows up to the Miami games. You
Yeah,
see how many people were at last week's game?
yeah.
They won 30-3 against Miami of Ohio. You're getting ready to play SEC talent, and if that stadium's not packed backing your team, that hurts you. I got Texas A&M, but I don't have them blowing them out. I think it's a 10-point game.
I yeah, I would even say 7 or under.
7, yeah.
Um, I think that one might sneakily be because if you look at it here, if one team blows the other team out of the water, then Texas A&M's back, Miami's back. If one of them loses that game, fire the head coach, right? If they play a close game and it's very entertaining, both fan bases are going to be happy. And I think both fan bases are actually well. I think Miami's on the come up. I don't know what Texas A&M's doing. So, um, I guess we'll find out. I think that'll be a sneakily good game. Another one here. This one wasn't as difficult for me, but it could be a trap game. Talking to one of my friends, whose brother's on the team. Shout out Mike. Wisconsin at Washington State. Wisconsin's favored by 6.5 points. But they're going to Washington State. Washington State's not a bad team. Quarterback's really good. Wisconsin finally got it going in the second half. The receivers are still a little bit on the downside, but I mean, Longo's got to realize he's got a two-headed monster in the backfield with Breland Allen, and I can't think of the other kid's name who's faster than Sin. I have Wisconsin on this one. I have faith in Luke Fickell. Somebody's got to come out of the Big Ten West. So I'm going Wisconsin.
Yeah, I picked Wisconsin in this one too. I thought after the second half last week, I think Longo needs to open up the playbook just a tad bit more and realize what he has and what they're capable of. I think he held back a little bit last week because
Yeah.
he was a little timid, but I think he's going to turn it around this week. And it's hard to go against Luke Fickell, man. Everywhere he's gone, he's won.
Yeah, and they just got to realize what they have right now too, right? Like they have a dominant run game. Mordecai didn't look that great, but he looked okay. The receivers were dropping more than anything, I think. Um, Defense was solid. I think they lean on Breland Allen a little bit more. I think they score 40 points this game, but um, okay, and then a fun one, the one that you and I thought could have been game of the year potential at the beginning of the season, Oregon at Texas Tech. Going into Lubbock here, Lubbock is nuts, man. I mean, it's just they have a good team. They got a great coach. They got a good quarterback. They just lost last week. I think they were looking ahead. Oregon dropped 81 points on Portland State. I don't know what to say here. I What scares me with Texas Tech, we don't know which Texas Tech they're going to be. I have a feeling a rabid animal is coming out with Texas Tech. Um, I don't know. Who do you got, man?
I think it's going to be too much Bo Nix in this one, man.
Yeah, I'm going to be cheering for Texas Tech. I like both teams. But I think that I want to see chaos, man. And I just, it's going to be
If I'm going off a good game pick, after what I saw last week, I mean, Texas Tech lost to
Wyoming.
Wyoming. Not taking anything away from Wyoming, but I
Right.
had Texas Tech winning that game.
Yeah.
And whether it's looking ahead or not, after seeing what Oregon did, like I said, I know that was Portland State, whatever, but the whole team was just well rounded, fundamentally sound to me. And I think Nick's different boat next, man. I
Yeah.
got to stick with Oregon on this one.
No, you're exactly right. Bo Nix has turned his career and his image around in 2 years. I mean, last year, because if you would have told me 2 years ago that Bo Nix is going to be in the Heisman conversation, leading one of the top 5 teams in the country, I would have laughed in your face. 1,000% laughed in your face. And now look at him. I mean, I agree. I'm going Oregon as well. Okay, 2 games left here. We'll save the primetime game for last. So we'll go noon kickoff in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish versus the North Carolina State Wolfpack. No hurricane. Looks like skies might be clear for that one, unlike the last time they played down there in Raleigh. Notre Dame's favored by 7.5 points. I think Notre Dame's the real deal this year, man. I went in thinking that they had a chance at 3 game, or it was a 4 game season, right? It was NC State, Clemson, USC, Ohio State, and I think they could have gone 2-2. Now I think they can win all 4 of them. I worry that they're starting to look ahead to Ohio State, and I'm worried because the first 2 teams that they played were kind of dog shit. But I'm saying Notre Dame. It's a 7.5 point game. I think they win by 10, but it's a close 10. It's a last second touchdown in the fourth quarter. 10.
Believe it or not, I really struggled on this game. Not taking anything away from UConn because of Jim Moore and the defensive scheme that he has, defensive style coach. But damn, man, we just have no outside explosion in my eyes. If somebody else wants to let me know on that, they're more than welcome to. But when you're dropping passes, Armstrong's not going to be able to throw the ball 20 to 30 times and
Have all of your
do a
running
zone
backs.
read.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have a running back. The offensive line played pretty decent to me.
Yeah.
Whole new bunch up front, minus a few. We get one offensive lineman back this week, and we do get a big key back on defense this week in Savion Jackson. But man, the defense to me really did not look good in the first half of that game, and that kind of worries me. I don't know.
Is Peyton Wilson going to be able to tackle Estime is the question, right?
I don't think it's him, man. I think the defensive line's got to get a little bit more pressure
Yeah.
for me. They just, I don't know.
Outside of
It
outside
sucks
of
because,
Joe Alt, Notre Dame's offensive line had some holes in it last week, man. So
yeah, like I said, I don't know. I really want NC State to win this game. Got the new scoreboard being
yeah,
shown this
looks
week. A whole
sick.
bunch of new stuff. Dude, no lie.
Looks sick.
Unfortunately, I have to take Notre Dame on this because I'm trying to
Ooh.
win on my picks. I don't like to go against my own team, but facts are facts and reality is reality. I just don't think we. I think it's going to be close in the first half, be a good game, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Sam Hartman's also
Stud.
1-1 against us. I don't know, man. That's a tough one for me. Unfortunately, I had to pick Notre Dame. Like I
I
said, I'm just a realist.
I think it's going to be a sneaky good game, and I'm glad that it's at 12 o'clock, like so we can have another good, right after game day type game. Like you said, I think it's a 10-point game, but I think it's a late touchdown 10-point game. I think it's a dogfight to the fourth quarter. Because NC State defense isn't a slouch. If they get a little bit of pressure, Sam Hartman, we haven't seen what he can do against pressure. Notre Dame's so young on the outside with wide receivers, so NC State has the advantage there with the defensive backs. Notre Dame has that four-headed monster at running back, like with Estime and the
Yeah.
three other freshmen or whatever they are. But Notre Dame's defense, I think, is pretty solid. And I mean, NC State can't run the ball. We've been saying it for 2 years now. Like they cannot run the ball, and like that's what's killing them because you can't set up the run. Makes Brendan Armstrong run for his life in the back, and then
The only thing that can help NC State in this game is the drunken rowdy crowd in
oh, it's gonna be
Carter.
loud,
First home game. Oh yeah, that place is gonna be packed.
and it's gonna be 90+ degrees.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm kind of not going to that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be hot, and Notre Dame's not played in really hot games, so I don't know, man. I think Notre Dame as well. And then game of the week, everybody and their mother's gonna be there. Josh Pate is gonna be there. Late kick with Josh Pate. Shout out. Unnecessary Roughness Crew is gonna be there with Barstool. Pat McAfee's there on Friday, and game day's there as well. My pick for game of the year at the start of the year, Texas at Bama. Alabama's favored by 7. Milroe looked pretty good last week. Bama, I mean, they played Middle Tennessee State, not really a good team. Texas looked a little slow and clunky, but they won pretty handily over Rice. What is it? What is it? Rule number 2: don't lose against food, right? So you can't lose against Rice. I'm gonna let you go first on this one because this one was.
Oh my God.
I don't want you to necessarily pick the same. Okay, fine. I'll go.
I'll tell you what, you go and I'll show you what I have written down.
All right. So a friend of mine at work told me when he's picking games, he looks at who the better rushing attack is. And I looked at it, and Alabama's the better rushing attack, right? But if you look at the per average push, Texas had better per average per rush. What I look at is who's the better quarterback, and I'm switching my daggone pick already. What I look at is who you trust more with the ball at the end
You
of
had
the game.
Bama. You little.
I'm picking
Mr.
Texas
Oh yeah,
to win
Texas
this
is
game.
back.
I
Oh,
was gonna
Texas
say
is back.
Bama. But I'm going with Texas.
You're a goon.
Yeah, I'm going with Texas. I think Quinn Ewers figures it out. I don't think they have enough for James Worthy or Xavier Worthy and everybody else. I think Sark pulls it out finally. I just don't trust Milroe to make the throws. I don't trust Buckner to make the throws. I'm going against everything that I was convincing myself of today, saying Bama's going to win because they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball. I think Texas wins in a shootout. I can't believe I switched picks. That's going to come back.
All right, let's go back. Let's just go back to last year. Who got hurt?
Quinn Ewers and Texas would have won.
Exactly
Easily.
my point. Exactly. Texas still has pretty much the same team,
Yeah.
other than Bijan Robinson. Alabama is down 2 of their starting corners or safeties this week.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, they're questionable. Like they don't know. And if you look at some of Saban's interviews,
He's nervous.
yeah, they won, but I don't really think he was happy with quarterback play. I think he's really nervous as to what his quarterbacks are going to do against a good team. I had Texas written down all week, and I'm sticking to it. I think Sark finally gets one against Saban, and I honestly truly think Quinn Ewers explodes just like he did in the first half last year before Hudson Card came in. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, I can't believe I changed my pick, but you're exactly right. The only thing I worry about is it's at Tuscaloosa, and Alabama's so hard to beat at Tuscaloosa. And Saban this year, I mean, he's coming in pissed off. that scares me as well. After LSU losing last night, I think Bama is the best team in the West. I think them or Ole Miss. I had no faith in LSU anyways, so whatever. But yeah, I think Texas wins. I think whoever loses this game, as long as it's not a blowout, like it's fine. So we're even this whole week. So we picked exact same teams every single game, which kind of surprises me, to be honest with you. Okay, so some locks that I have, and then we'll get into the upset of the week. I have Jacksonville State at Coastal Carolina. Jacksonville State is underdogged by 13 points, so I'm going to say take J State plus the 13. Rich Rod hung up 49 points against somebody else last week. I am a J State fan now. Let's go, Rich Rod. Oregon at Texas Tech. I'm going to go over 69.5. I don't see defense in that game at all. Texas Bama, I think it's a shootout as well, so over 54.5. Iowa State versus Iowa. I should have put this game on there, but like I just don't care because it's going to be slower than shit of a game. I have Iowa, and Iowa's favored by 4. I say take Iowa -4. Iowa State's just in shambles after the gambling issues that they've had with their players. JMU at UVA. UVA is favored by 6 points. Take JMU in the 6 points all day long. JMU is going to win.
You said Virginia was favored by 6?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
No.
Yeah.
I thought JMU was favored.
Let me double check here.
Unless it changed in a day.
Well, I looked at it this afternoon,
Oh, okay.
but
I swear I thought they had JMU by 7.
Maybe I misread it. Hold on 1 second. Oh, JMU. Sorry, I did misread it. JMU is favored by 6. I still take JMU -6. I think they win by a lot. Apologies there. Purdue and Virginia Tech. It's only a 3-point game. Take Virginia Tech with the points -3. I think they win bigger than that because I don't think Purdue's there. Hudson Card is trash. Ball State at Georgia. Georgia's favored by 42 points. I think they go out and make a statement. I think they win by more than 42 points. That's my biggest one of the year, just because of everything that they've been having to listen to this week. Notre Dame at NC State. Notre Dame's favored by 7.5. Like I said, I think they win by 10. Illinois at Kansas. Same thing as the Purdue Virginia Tech game. Take Kansas -3. I think they win by more than that. And then Ole Miss at Tulane, over 67 points. I think that's a shootout as well. I think Ole Miss wins and they win handily, but Tulane's going to put up points with that. Okay, so with that being said, we do have our weekly upset of the week, and the upset has to be by at least more than 7. I think we agreed on 7.5 points, right? So the one that I wanted, and I was hoping it would continue to drop, was Tulane over Ole Miss at -7, but they didn't, so I can't take them. I'm going to take Jacksonville State to beat, or to cover at least, against Coastal Carolina. And I think they win. So they'll at least cover the 13 points, but I think they win outright. That's what we're doing, is winning outright. They're favored by Coastal Carolina is favored by 13 points. I'm picking Jacksonville State to win outright.
All right, I'm going with the ACC foe this week. I think Vanderbilt's going to go into Winston-Salem and upset Wake Forest.
What's the line on that right now?
I want to say Wake by 10. Yep, Wake by 10.
They both didn't look that great in their first couple matches, so
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I can see that. Okay, and then the last little section is player of the week. We gave our player of the weeks for week 1. I think we both kind of predicted, right? Like I think we both picked Shador to be player of the week last week. So who do you think? And we agreed that Shador and Travis Hunter were player of the weeks this week, I think. So who do you have as for this upcoming player of the week, or who needs to be the player of the week for their team to be successful?
I don't know. This one was kind of tough for me. To me, I got to go with Quinn Ewers, man.
Yeah,
That him or Xavier Worthy.
I'll let you have both of them because I think one's not going to go without the other, right? And they both of them have to play their best games of the season until Oklahoma, I think. I'm gonna go with Sam Hartman because he hasn't played anybody yet.
Oh,
And he has to play well against NC State, or it's not going to work because NC State's no slouch. Like their defense is solid enough to beat Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is choked on crap game, like not expected to lose games in the past. So like it has to be Sam Hartman for player of the week. And it took all of me not to take Shador again because I really want to take Shador Sanders again. I might, since you took two, I'm going to take two. I'm taking Shador as well.
you
Shador
would.
Sanders. I'm a believer, man. I was a believer when they hired him. I'm still a believer right now. I until otherwise, I'm telling you right now, when Colorado plays USC, I'm picking Colorado.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to it.
Unless they lose.
Yeah, now you changed it.
So we'll see. We'll see how they look against a better team this week. If they can do it again this week and next week, yeah, I mean it's gonna be hard for me to pick against them, man. Okay, well that's it for us here with First and Faloney. That was our fun week one there. I think an even better week two. We got some really, really good games and some games we didn't even pick. I try to pick closer spreads this week than last week. A couple people we didn't even talk about from last week. The kid from Florida State, what was that quarterback?
Jordan Travis.
Jordan Travis, we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about Drake May. We didn't talk about Drew Aller. All three of those players had amazing games. Just a lot to cover in week one. So hopefully starts to shake out a little bit better in week two here. Thank you guys for listening. If you enjoyed it, be a friend, tell a friend, give us a review. Right now we're 5 stars on podcasting reviews. So thanks for that. Give us a like on YouTube as well. And spread the word, man. Like let's keep this going. Let's get some more views on some of these games. And if you have any questions or if you want us to debate anything, send it in to us on our Instagram, to our text messages, on the YouTube comments, podcast comments, whatever. Awesome. Well, that's it for us. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.